Okay, I hope this is working. Um, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Let me just see. It's been a while since I've done. Oh no. Wait a second, guys. Sorry. I need to figure out how I can see the chat window. Well, if there's people here, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, please bear with me just for a second. There's a new YouTube creator dashboard and I can't find the live stream section. Here we go, control room. Okay, I hope this is working. Yeah, okay, it looks like it's streaming and I can open up the chat as well. Great, okay, so there's already chats coming in, which is super awesome to see. Hey everybody. Oh, and there's already a bunch of questions. Okay, that's really cool. That means we can jump right into this. Yeah, hi Lauren, hi Anna, hey Jalen. Oh, it's so cool that you guys are here. All right, so yeah, as you guys might know, I am moving to Canada, back to Canada in about a week. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to film a video for you guys, but I thought it would be fun to do a live chat and answer some of your questions. So yeah, so it looks like you can leave any questions that you want me to talk about in the chat, and I will try to get through them. And it looks like there already are some, so I guess I'll jump right in. So first of all, Cecilia asks, do you sanitize secondhand clothes and shoes before wearing them? And if so, how? So I don't do anything special other than, yeah, just a normal wash. I put clothes in the wash. If it's something like shoes, I will sometimes try to clean it. It really depends though. I don't buy anything that's that's particularly dirty or stained, or I think it's always a good idea to kind of inspect the clothes and make sure that they're not in really rough shape, or if they smell really bad. Like sometimes it's pretty common for clothes to have a bit of a thrift store or vintage smell, I guess. But if it smells like, I don't know, like BO or something, I would probably avoid it. So yeah, I don't do anything special in terms of sanitizing, but I do just wash them like I would normal clothes. So, what else do we have in the chat? So Cecilia also asks, many YouTubers have posted videos about why they are quitting the capsule wardrobe system. Do you think you'll ever stop using the rigid capsule systems and just have one smaller year-round wardrobe? So I don't think I'm going to stop using the capsule wardrobe system, but I made a video about a year into my capsule wardrobes about how I was being a bit more flexible with it. So I still really like the structure of a capsule wardrobe, and I would not do a year-round wardrobe because first of all, where I live, there are pretty distinct seasons, and I think that doesn't work so well. So for example, I'm not going to be wearing my really summery clothes like shorts and, I wouldn't be wearing that in the winter. And in the summer, I'm not going to be wearing my really heavy sweaters and those kinds of things. So I prefer to have those separate. Also, I really like the aspect of a capsule wardrobe, of unpacking the clothes from the previous seasons that have been packed away. And I don't have a ton of clothes that I keep in storage, but it's so nice to get excited about those pieces again. Like right now, I'm already kind of transitioning into my summer capsule wardrobe because it's been pretty warm here and it's going to be, I think, pretty warm in Canada. So I've already started to incorporate some of my shorts and stuff. But just going through my clothes and everything for our move, I'm getting really excited about certain pieces to wear them for the summer. And these are pieces that I've had for years and years. And I just like the idea of bringing them out and having them be kind of new again. So that's an aspect of the capsule wardrobe that I really love. So I think I'm always going to have some kind of system like that where I have some out of season clothes put away and stick within a certain number. I'm a bit more flexible with the numbers. So I found in the winter, I need a lot more layers. So I tend to go a bit higher. I feel more comfortable in maybe like the 33 to 35 range for winter. Whereas spring and summer, I feel like I can go a bit lower. So like 30 to 33. But again, I'm not super rigid with the numbers. It's more about what works really well together. But I do like having the structure of the capsule wardrobe and being able to bring out of season clothes. So yeah, so next, Bats and Peaches says, can you talk more about safe dyes? I recently discovered that my favorite black clothes I've had for years have been staining my skin when I wear them, and researching safe dyes can be confusing. Yeah, dyes is a really difficult topic because it's so hard to get information on what clothes have been dyed with and how that affects anything, how that affects the environment, how that affects us, how that affects the workers. There is more information on how certain dyes affect the environment and workers, but it's been really difficult to find information on how that could affect us wearing it on our skin. And it's also really difficult to know from a brand what their clothes have been dyed with. So one of the few things you can look for though is the Okotex 100 or the Okotex standard. They have different levels of that. And they specifically look at all of the chemicals that are used throughout the supply chain, and they'll monitor, yeah, so they have special restrictions, and clothes can only use certain chemicals that are lower impact and that are safe for people. So if you want to make sure that your clothes are at least checked for dyes and meet a certain criteria, then that is a really good thing to look for. Other than that, though, like you can ask brands what their clothes might have been dyed with, but chances are they probably don't know. They might work with mills that only use low impact dyes, and that's really good for the environment. And those also tend to be better for people as well. Now, this is not a guarantee that it's going to be dyed better, but natural fibers, wool, silk especially, take dye really well. Cotton, linen, those kinds of things, they take dye much better than synthetic fibers. So in general, you have to use less harsh chemicals on natural materials than you do on synthetic materials. But this, is not a guarantee, and natural materials could be dyed with very harsh chemicals that could be harsh for your skin, and synthetic chemicals or synthetic clothing could also be dyed with really low impact dyes. So again, it's not a given, but it is, I would say, generally kind of like that. It's a very, very vague rule. But yeah, I mean, dyes are really difficult, and it's so hard to get information on them. It's unfortunate because we kind of go in blindly where, yeah, it's really hard to know what your clothes have been dyed with. And I'm sorry that you've had skin reactions. So yeah, you can look for natural fibers for sure, and undyed clothes, natural cotton, undyed linen, those kinds of things, or low impact dyes, or look for the Okotex, I guess would be my recommendations. Okay, so, oh great, it's so awesome to see more and more people jumping in. Hi guys, thank you guys so much for being here. So another question, okay, do you know any sustainable brands that carry smaller sizes equal to a size 32 or 34? I'm quite skinny and I don't like drowning. Um, there are, oh, I don't know off the top of my head. There are some brands that have more of a petite, small size range. I'm sorry, I unfortunately don't know off the top of my head any that I can think of right away. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh no. You can check out I have a brand directory on my website, which has a list of a ton of different brands. But yeah, I'm unfortunately can't think of any off the top of my head. Ugh. Okay, so Greta asks, why am I moving back? So that is kind of a sad story. So we moved to Germany 3 years ago, over 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago now. And we initially moved because I wanted to study sustainable fashion in Germany, and that didn't end up panning out. I feel like I've told this story, so I'm sorry if you've already heard this. But then my husband ended up getting a job in Cologne, and we've lived here for the last 3 years. But when was it? In the fall, my husband was laid off for his job, and they transitioned his department into freelance work. So he had to move from being a full-time employee to a freelancer, but for us and having a visa in Germany, that's a completely different visa and you have to apply for a different visa. So we did that visa application process and it has taken so long. Like we still haven't heard anything back about it. We heard something at one point that the visa paper went to the wrong place. Anyways, there was a whole bunch of stuff happening with the visa and our residency permit expires this summer. And we were just waiting and waiting and waiting for a visa. And it got to a point where we couldn't wait anymore and we had to make a decision. So we decided to go back to Canada. So it's kind of unfortunate because I really would have loved to stay longer, but this visa process has just been pretty terrible. So we have to go back. So Sarah says, do you have any tips on moving minimalistically? I like the word minimalistically. That's great. So I feel like with moving, you have such a wonderful opportunity to go through your stuff and downsize things and really look at everything you own because, you know, you're taking things out and packing it up. And so it's a wonderful opportunity to really assess all of the things you have and whether it's worth moving it to somewhere else and hanging on to it. And especially for us, because we're moving overseas, we really can't bring that much stuff with us. So that just getting tongue-tied. So we each have a big suitcase and like a large backpack, a traveling backpack that we're bringing back with us, and then a carry-on, and that's it. And that's all the space that we have. So anything that we're bringing back has to fit in that. And so we've been getting rid of some stuff. We were really lucky because the person taking over our apartment is taking all of our furniture and kitchen things. She's moving out of a totally furnished place, so she needs everything, which is wonderful. So we haven't had to worry about getting rid of a lot of that stuff. So basically what we're bringing back with us is like clothes, electronics, like computer, cameras, laptops, those kinds of things. A few like household things that we wanted to hang on to, but really not that much. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're in kind of a special situation because we have to move very, very minimalistically. But I think just in general, take it as an opportunity to really assess your things and whether they're worth hanging on to. And something else you can do if you're moving is to pack stuff away. So if there's things that you aren't sure about or things that you think you might want, is you can pack them away in boxes and don't unpack everything right away and unpack things as you actually use them. And then if maybe after a month of living in your new place, you still have stuff that's packed up and that you haven't even looked at or touched, you can reassess if that's something that you do really still need to hang on to. So I hope that answers your question. So next, oh, hi from Canada. Hey, Mama Squirrel, that's so cute. So do you have any summer wardrobe pieces you recommend for a capsule wardrobe? So for me, I love just like dresses in the summer, something that's really easy and simple and that you can dress up or down. I am in love with my t-shirt dress that you guys have probably seen me wear. It's like a long dress just because it is so easy to throw on. It's super comfortable. It's like light and breezy, so it's not too hot. I can dress it up. I can put a nice necklace, a belt with it, put some heels with it, or it can be incredibly casual because it's basically just a big t-shirt. So really versatile dresses, I think, are a great summer wardrobe staple. Linen dresses especially are really nice. What else do I like in the summer? Of course, like t-shirts, tank top, those kinds of things I think are pretty staple. I've also been really loving my jumpsuit. I've been wearing that a ton. I think that's going to be a really great summer piece. And I mean, I've already been wearing it so much, so I know that that's going to be a big staple. Okay, sorry, jump in the chat again. Oh, hello from Lithuania. It's so cool to connect with people from all around the world. I don't know, it's just so cool. So next, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I think it's like Mojmirin, sorry, says, what are the top 3 things that you learn from making a capsule wardrobe? And do you remember your first capsule wardrobe? Hello from Slovakia. Hey. So of course, I do remember my first capsule wardrobe because it is available on YouTube. It's my very first video that I ever uploaded. the top 3 things that I've learned from a capsule wardrobe. I think the biggest thing that I've learned from a capsule wardrobe is how few pieces I actually need, and having pieces that go really well together and that mix and match really easily. Like that, I never thought that the capsule wardrobe would be something that I'd be really comfortable with when I first did it, because it just seemed so small. And that's why I kind of challenged myself to do it for a year and see what it was like. And now I can't imagine having a huge closet. Like it just seems, it's the opposite basically. I went from thinking, that is way too small, to now thinking that I guess a normal closet is just way too big. So I guess that's my biggest takeaway. What are some other things that I've learned? I've definitely learned the importance of having good, comfortable pieces that you just want to wear, because I think oftentimes I've had pieces in my wardrobe, and I still have some sometimes, that, they're just not the pieces that I gravitate to, because maybe they're slightly uncomfortable, or they're like a little awkward to style or work with, or yeah, they just aren't those pieces that are super easy and fit really well and are a great cut and are a great like color and work really well with my wardrobe. So having pieces that I guess are just these really, really good core pieces are super important for having for creating, I guess, the foundation of your wardrobe. Another thing, is there anything else? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I've learned from my capsule wardrobe, but in terms of top things, oh, I guess I've also learned that the capsule wardrobe really gives you this opportunity to be incredibly creative with your clothes, because you're limited. And if you're somebody like me who enjoys kind of, trying out new styles, it sort of forces you to play around with the clothes you have and try new things. And instead of, going out and buying a new piece and styling that with your wardrobe, you shop your closet and you try to find new ways of wearing things, or try to wear pieces in a totally different way that you've never worn it before. And I think it's made me so much more creative in terms of using the pieces that I already own. I can hear my throat getting a little groggy. Sorry, I'm gonna have some tea. Mm. My husband just came back from a work trip recently, and he was a little sick on his trip, and now I hope that I'm not getting it. I feel like I might be getting it though. So, oh my gosh, there's so many questions. Okay, I'm gonna try to make sure I'll try to move along a bit faster. I feel like I've been talking a lot. So Gemma says, do you have any shopping tips or good places to look for wedding guest clothing? Really struggling to find ethical or secondhand clothing that is suitable for a wedding. I would highly recommend looking for pieces online, or secondhand, sorry. Look online, check sites like eBay if you're in, or Depop, if you're in America, like ThreadUp, um, any of those secondhand sites, because you can filter through them and look for Etsy. Might be even good to find some maybe vintage pieces. Consignment stores, if you have any, because I feel like tend to be a bit more higher end, I guess. Like consignment stores are a bit more selective than maybe thrift stores. So that might be a good place to find good secondhand clothing. There are some ethical brands that sell dresses. And again, you can check out my brand directory. I have quite a few. But I would really recommend looking for pieces like that secondhand, because most of the time you tend to only wear them once or maybe a few times. So I think those are great to buy secondhand. And I would definitely recommend looking online for that. So Agnes says, how do you suggest starting a capsule wardrobe? I want to try, but I feel a bit overwhelmed. I totally get that it might be overwhelming, and I would just challenge yourself to do it for a small time, then maybe a month, and pack up some of your things, put them away somewhere, and just see how it goes. And if you don't like it, you can tweak it or change the rules or do something different or try again later. I wouldn't take it too seriously. But I think just kind of going through the process, you learn so much, and you learn so much about yourself and what you like and what you don't like and what works for you. So I would say just jump in and test it out, and you can always play around with it and tweak it to suit you better. So Sarah says, would you buy wool if you knew that the animals were treated well? Yes, and I have bought wool from a company who I absolutely love what they do. She rescues sheep that are being sent to slaughter, and her whole business philosophy is around animal welfare. And they use the wool from the sheep, which have to be shorn anyways, to produce sweaters to continue to run their sanctuary. And I think things like that are really wonderful. It's sort of the uh, it's a real slow fashion brand, so I definitely do like supporting that. I totally get that people have different views on that, but personally, yeah, I'm okay with supporting wool if I know exactly where the animals are, how they're cared for, all of that kind of information, and that they're treated well. So next, Sandra says, just wondering what you will miss from Europe when moving back to Canada. There's quite a few things I'm gonna miss, especially in terms of like living more sustainably. I'm definitely gonna miss the public transit system. I can bike almost anywhere that I need to go. I can walk almost anywhere. The public transit system and trains are incredible for traveling around, going to different countries, just traveling around the city. I'm really gonna miss that. Um, and here in Germany, there's pretty good access to, well, right now there is at least, there didn't used to be, pretty good access to like unpackaged stores. There's a lot of organic stores. There's quite a few sustainable and fair fashion brands, stores that sell sustainable and fair fashion brands where I live. So that's going to be amazing. I'm going to miss all of that. And just the general lifestyle, I feel like I'm gonna miss a bit. It seems more relaxed. People have like more vacation here. I feel like they go outside more and just life is a bit slower and less about work. Maybe that's just my perception, but I'm gonna miss that too. Um, okay. Oh, there's so many questions. Okay. Sandra says, what are some documentaries you would recommend when interested in simple, minimalistic, and sustainable living? So there is a documentary called The Minimalists, Minimalism, I think it's called, that covers quite a few of those topics. Other documentaries for simple living. Oh, um, shoot. There's like one that I think I watched quite a while ago, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry. I will try to look it up for you. If you guys have any other documentary recommendations, please leave them in the chat because I would love to watch some too. I tend to watch ones that are more sustainability focused than like minimalism focused. So yeah, sorry I don't have any recommendations, but if you guys do, please share them. Um, so Atumu says, I was wondering if you have any tips for people who are interested in studying something related to sustainability in university, any good programs, courses, etc. you know about. Um, I don't know about any specific programs, but you can study things like environmental science. There are environmental focused programs. I unfortunately don't know of any specific ones that I would recommend. Again, if anybody else has studied anything, please share that in the comments so we can all hear about them. But sorry, yeah, unfortunately, I don't. Lissy says, what is your opinion on absolutism? So like making no compromises, example being vegan, but not eating something that may have traces of milk, etc. I don't think that that's a very good way to approach things. I think there's like a really strong kind of perfectionism or purity complex, I guess, or purity focus when it comes to a lot of these movements. And I think that they can be highly damaging. I have a video on perfectionism, which I can maybe try to figure out how to link somewhere. I'm sorry, I don't know much about how to do these things. If you search My Green Closet perfectionism, though, it should show up. And I've talked about that in there where, you know, nobody's perfect. And I think that we should just focus on trying our best and not focus so much on trying to be completely pure or perfect. And I think those kinds of things tend to turn people away as well. So somebody that is new to a movement and just trying things out, you know, if they feel like they have to do this 110%, or they can't do it at all, I don't think that's a good approach. You know, I'd rather somebody do something 50% or 80% than do nothing at all because they're worried that they can't do it 100%. So Yeah, I think that answers your question. But yeah, you can watch my other video more about that. Jalen says, "Do you know that you're in the movie The Minimalist?" I do. I was contacted really briefly, and they just basically said, "Hey, can we use a small clip from one of your YouTube videos?" So I do know that I'm in it, and it's super exciting, and it was really cool to see that. Um, yeah, Billy says she knows. Yeah. So, how many items do you own in your closet? I counted it. It's less now because I have recently gotten rid of some stuff. I counted it, I think, when was it? A few months ago. And I think it came out to like around 60 with like athletic clothing, my out of season stuff. It was like I think between 50 and 60 pieces. Yeah, including like all of my workout stuff. I might have also included some of my pajamas, like sleep clothes in there. I don't think I included it didn't include like underwear and bras and stuff. But I think yeah, pieces of clothing I think was around 50 or 60. I can't be sure though, and I could give it another count when I pack. Hello from Pine Beach, New Jersey. Hey. So Shell Bisley, who has an amazing channel, hey, that's so cool you're here, says, I don't have a capsule wardrobe, but I don't know why. I have a pretty minimal wardrobe, but I own more than I used to on a normal basis. I just enjoy thrifting too much. I totally get that. I know that's not a question, but I totally understand that. I think, different people have different approaches to a wardrobe, and if you like thrifting and you like having more clothes to play around with, I totally get that a capsule wardrobe isn't for everybody, but you can also have a capsule wardrobe that is a bit larger. It doesn't have to be 30 pieces. Like some people I feel like have a very successful capsule wardrobe at around 40 to 50 pieces. So I think really it's what works for you, and if you find that works wonderfully for you, then that's awesome. So Emily says, any tips for letting go of clothing, even when I know I won't wear something again? I feel like I'm talking too fast. Maybe I am. Let me know if I am. So sorry. Yeah. So Emily says, I won't wear something. If I know I won't wear something again, I have trouble letting go of it because I don't want to get rid of something with value. So yeah, that can be really tough, especially if it's a piece that, yeah, like you spent a lot of money on or you invested in. But what is it adding in your life by just hanging on to it? I feel like oftentimes we are holding on to things that we're not using. They're just adding clutter, or they're adding guilt, or they tend to add like negative things. And so if it's just like producing negative feelings or, creating more clutter, then I don't see a reason to hang on to it. So I would try to just, appreciate it and let it go. Try to think of the fact that somebody else is probably going to use it. Ideally, if you can find it a new home where somebody really appreciates it and is going to use it, that's the best case scenario. And that makes letting go of it so much easier, knowing that it will actually be used. If it is something that you spent a lot of money on, you could try selling it and taking that money and investing it in something else that you will actually use. So that can be a good strategy. Yeah, so I know it can be tough, but I think, if we're holding on to things that aren't adding anything positive into our life, then it's not good to keep holding on to them. So again, Cecilia says, oh, can I just say that I'm a huge fan of yours? Thank you so much. I really hope you do these streams more often. I might do these streams more often. I think it's kind of fun. I mean, it's always a little nerve-wracking to just jump into something live. I'm used to, of course, preparing and having notes and stuff for videos, but I think it's a lot of fun. And if you guys would like to see more of these, please let me know. And yeah, maybe I can try to do them more often. So Taylor says, hi, what are your favorite stores to buy dresses from? I usually thrift, but I haven't had any luck. Oh no, that sucks. I'm sorry you haven't had luck thrifting. I would try looking for things online. For example, right now I have a wedding coming up in like just over a month, and I need a bridesmaid's dress for. And luckily we can have mismatching bridesmaids dresses just in a specific color. And so I found shopping online secondhand to be really helpful, because often sites will let you, filter by size, filter by color. You can even filter by certain styles. So it's a lot easier than going into thrift stores. And there seems to be quite a lot of dresses. In terms of stores, I mean, I don't know if you're asking for like ethical stores for dresses. People Tree has quite a few really cute dresses. I feel like they have a generally pretty good selection. Um, oh man, again, I can't think of any off the top of my head, any other ones that have specifically quite a few dresses. But you can check out my brand directory. And yeah, and I also recommend looking for dresses online on secondhand stores online. So Sergia says, "Hi, Erin. Thanks for sharing sustainable brands. Your videos have helped me a lot when buying new clothes." Oh, that's so nice to hear. Any tips on how to buy good quality clothes? Yes. So check the seams. Make sure that the stitching is like tight. The stitches aren't, when I say tight, I don't mean like, I mean like the stitches aren't super, super wide and long, because basically the cheaper something is, they tend to use really wide, long stitches so that it can go through the machine super quickly. So the stitches should be like a couple millimeters. They shouldn't look extra long. So check that. Check the fabric. Make sure it's not super thin. Make sure it's not wearing. You can pull out the seams a little bit and see if they're splitting. I have a video on how to buy good quality clothes. Again, I wish I knew how to link them somehow here. But if you search good quality clothes, My Green Closet, it should show up hopefully. And that goes through more things that you can look for specifically when you're shopping to make sure that the things you're buying are good quality. So next, Amanda says, "I'm not the best at research or identifying greenwashing versus actual ethical companies. I use your listing a lot, but do you have other recommended blogs or listings I could reference? For example, The Good Trade." So The Good Trade is awesome. I would look at other bloggers. There are so many amazing bloggers out there. I highly recommend checking out the Ethical Writers and Creatives. That's a group that I am really proud to be a part of. And there are just so many really incredible bloggers part of that. And most of them will have their own brand directories. And you can also look at the kinds of brands that they, do collaborations with and promote and share in their Instagram or whenever, or on their website. So yeah, I would recommend checking out those bloggers. There's a ton of them, too many to name, but they're all really amazing. So Alexandra says, "Watch The True Cost." Yeah, definitely. That's a great documentary. So Celia, again, is Free People an ethical? Free People as a company is an ethical company. However, I do think that they carry some ethical brands. Anthropology as well, which is also under the same umbrella. I haven't looked into them extensively, so I don't know for sure, but I know that Anthropology and I believe Free People carry a few brands that I'm familiar with that are more ethically focused. So again, I haven't really done extensive research into them, but I think if anything, they carry some brands that are. So, oh, I just moved my chat. Okay, good. Cindy says you're not talking too fast. That's good. Shauna says, "Hi, Erin. I'm a fashion design student. I am interested in eco fashion. What do you think is missing in the current eco brands as far as styles, types of clothing, fabric, etc.?" So stuff that's currently missing for sure, plus size, like more size range. That's incredibly hard to find. Tall sizes, even smaller sizes, petite sizes. I feel like most ethical brands only have the very, very like basic size range, and that's super unfortunate because there's a really there's so many people I interact with that talk about how they would love to buy sustainable fashion, but it's not available in their size. And that's really sad to see. So that's for sure something that's missing. As far as styles, I think there's a lot missing in terms of stuff that is more design driven, I guess. I feel like a lot of companies stick to the basics because they know that those kinds of things are going to sell. So, t-shirts, like standard dresses, jeans, those kinds of things. It's super easy to find basic clothes from sustainable brands. But I would like to see more brands kind of pushing the envelope in terms of design, coming up with more creative and interesting things. I know that's really hard for them because it's a lot more risky. But yeah, that's something I would say is generally missing. And types of clothing, I think there is a lack of business appropriate clothing, so like workwear. There really aren't a lot of brands doing it. There's like a couple, a few, maybe less than a handful I know of. So yeah, those are things I think are really missing in sustainable fashion and hopefully will be improving. Great. So V. Megan recommended a sustainability program for studying at university. Shelby studied environmental science in college and can help anyone with questions. So definitely check her out if you are looking into studying that. What else? So Nguyen says, hi, Erin. How do you wear a pencil skirt for daily life without being too formal, too old, too much? Love yours, but it's already sold. It is already sold, but the girl who got it really loves it, so I was really happy to hear that. How to wear a pencil skirt day to day. So personally, I think the easiest way to wear a pencil skirt to make it more casual is to wear it with a t-shirt. And I liked wearing it just like with a little tucked in t-shirt with some sandals in the summer. That was a pretty go-to outfit for me. And you can even wear it with like a really like casual looking, slightly oversized. I've seen people wear pencil skirts with band t-shirts. I think that looks really cool, tucked in. You can throw on like a jean jacket over top or like a leather moto jacket, something like that. Yeah, that's how I would recommend wearing a pencil skirt, a bit more casual. And then yeah, sandals, or you can even wear it with runners or sneakers or something. Oh, there's more climate studies. Anna studied climate studies at Wageningen University and environmental science. So definitely cool. I would honestly love to study more about that in like a university setting. I think that's really cool. And it's unfortunate, I guess, yeah, I went the fashion route and we didn't really have a lot of options, I guess, for environmental focused programs that I can think of, or maybe I just really wasn't that aware of them. Sarah would also like to see more live streams. Great, that's really good to hear. Oh, you guys, thank you so much. Okay, so sorry, just trying to go through here. So Dianique says, I feel like it's easier to let go of things the more practice I get. I used to be sentimentally attached to clothes, etc. I reorganized my drawers closet without the items to see how I feel. I totally agree with that. I think it's really hard at first, but when you feel how good it is to be, a bit lighter and have gotten rid of some things and realize that try to think back at some of the stuff that I initially was, really was really difficult for me to let go of. And I can't even remember what those things are. And so that just shows me like those things really didn't mean that much. And so having practice at that, at letting go of things does make it a lot easier. So Cecilia again says, as a teenager, can I say that I really looked up to you and I haven't bought from fast fashion brand for 5 years. I hope that as I get older, I can continue to live sustainably. That is amazing and so cool that you're a teenager and doing that. I think that's really incredible and good for you. Like that's amazing. And I also hope that you can continue to live sustainably. That's really, really cool. So Sarah says, some of the brands in your brand directory are not specifically labeled ethically made. Would you still recommend any of them as ethical brands? Okay, so almost all of them, I mean, I feel a little hesitant saying that, but so all of the brands in my directory have for sure sustainable and ethical qualities. Those can vary from brand to brand though. So basically what I look for is like, what are these brands doing? Are they doing something good in the fashion industry? So not all of the brands I would say are like super sustainable, but they might have a really strong ethical focus. On the flip side, some of the brands have really, really, really good sustainability and their ethics are still there. Like they still know about their factories because I always check with brands, get information about their factories, but it might not be like these brands are, fair trade certified or anything like that. So there is a balance there. And the reason I have, different brands like that in my directory is because different people prioritize different things. And so I try to have a good mix, but all of the brands there do for sure, meet kind of, I guess, a baseline standard. So it really is up to you, I guess, in terms of what your biggest priorities are. So if you want brands that are for sure fair trade, then take a look and try to find those brands. But I think, I have to go back through it again. Like I feel like I have to keep periodically going through it and rechecking with brands and making sure that they're still at where they were at when I initially added them. But I feel like all of them for sure have some kind of ethical, like they know about their factories, that kind of thing. I mean, it's always weird to be like, oh, they're for sure all ethically made. I feel like I can't say that because I haven't checked through each one of them again recently, but they should all definitely have some kind of ethical standards there, as well as some kind of sustainability standards as well. And most of them are really good. Most of them are up there with both of them, have really good sustainability, really good ethics. But like I said, sometimes depending on the brand, if I feel like, oh, this brand is really incredible, they're doing so many amazing things with sustainability. Yes, they could improve their factories a bit, but they're still doing okay, then I'll add them. But that might not be what you're looking for. So anyways, I'm sorry that doesn't really answer your question, but yes, I would recommend a lot of them as ethical brands. A lot of them are really incredible. Yeah, sorry. Sorry I couldn't give you a better answer. I hope that's okay. So Jenna says, any recommendations for where and how to donate clothes that are too worn to be recycled? And what laundry detergents do you use? So it totally depends on where you live in terms of what your textile recycling facilities are. You can try looking online, searching textile recycling in your city and see what comes up and see what they do with the clothes. So some places will shred it up and turn it into like insulation or something. Some places are looking for very specific kinds of textiles and they'll only recycle certain kinds of textiles. So if that's the case, you obviously want to make sure that those textiles are only going. Yeah, again, it really depends on where you live. So I would just try to search and see what is available to you and how well that fits. There are some companies I think that take like general, all kind of clothes that you can mail stuff into. But unfortunately, I don't know of any that I could recommend. But yeah, try doing a search for that. And what laundry detergent do I use? So I've been using Soap Nuts for a really long time. I know that they're not the best to use. I've heard people say how, there's some issues around them in terms of ethics and them undermining local economies where they are being farmed. But I had a big bag of Soap Nuts, and so I've been using mainly that. I don't know what I'm going to use going forward in Canada because we basically just ran out really recently. I don't know. I might try making my own laundry detergent. Some of you guys have recommended some different recipes and different things to try, so I think I'm going to try that. Yeah. Okay. So, do you know? So, Alorzon. Oh my gosh, I cannot pronounce your username. I'm sorry. Alorzon Ranciel. Sorry if I mispronounce anyone's username. Says, do you know any ethical companies that specifically have clothes for taller women? The struggle is too real. Oh, no, I'm sorry. One of my friends is really tall too. And I don't know of any companies that specifically do that. I'm sorry. Dominica says, hi, Erin. What do you think about American Apparel? I think they're maybe better than some other companies, but they've had so many scandals and I've read different things about, them actually having issues in their factories in Los Angeles. So personally, they're not a company that I would support, but I haven't looked a ton into them, so I can't give you a really good assessment. But personally, I'm a little suspicious, I guess, of them. So Gemma says, how do you see the balance between buying from and supporting ethical companies versus secondhand in terms of waste and environmental impact? That's a great question. I believe somebody also asked that on Twitter. It might have been you. I don't know. I used to check again. Anyways, or not Twitter, Instagram, sorry. So I think that both are really good. And I've done a video about this before, actually, on is it better to buy secondhand or ethical? And I think if you have the money to invest in some ethical companies, I think that's wonderful to do because it supports a industry, and it's basically saying, you know, I want to support what you're doing and I want you to be able to do more of that, of course. So I think that's wonderful. I also think it's really wonderful to buy secondhand. And that's why personally, I think it's good to have a mix of both. It of course depends on your budget too. You know, if you have quite a high clothing budget, I would for sure recommend investing in some really great brands. If you have a very tight budget, then I would definitely recommend just focusing on secondhand fashion. So yeah, I think it's really good to do both. I think they both play a really important role. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. So Lacey says, do you know of any ethical underwear brands that have smaller sizes in bras? I'm a 28 or 30 band and I found it extremely difficult. I would recommend checking out Lara Intimates. They're a really cool bra and underwear lingerie company. And I love my bras from them, and they make a smaller brand. I wear a 30, and I believe they also have a 28. So yes, I would recommend checking them out. Lava Hava, I think, also does custom sizing. So you might be able to find your size with them as well. So next, I gotta have some tea. Next, Luana Lana says, when we buy secondhand clothing instead of new clothes, I think this is sort of the same question. Wait, when we buy secondhand clothes instead of new clothes with less environmental impact, do we end up encouraging buying without responsibility in relation to people who feed this market? So this is a really good point. And I've heard this before, and I kind of see how it could a little bit, but I think there's ways that you can kind of temper that. So first of all, if you buy from thrift stores, people are just donating to the thrift stores. So they're not constantly selling clothes to buy new clothes. So, you know, if you buy from somebody online, maybe on Depop or something, and they're constantly selling clothes and they have massive amounts of clothes, then yes, maybe they're just taking the money that they are making from their old clothes to buy new clothes. So there could be an argument there for sure that you might be kind of feeling that. But I mean, people that are going to buy a ton of clothes and just donate them or get rid of them, it's not really going to change. If those clothes are being donated versus going to the landfill, I don't think. Yeah. So I would say possibly there's a chance that it could be with some people, but for the vast majority, I think it's much better to keep using those clothes and keep them out of the landfill and promote secondhand shopping and support thrift stores or charity shops and all the wonderful sustainability things that come with that, instead of risking that it possibly maybe for somebody might be encouraging them to buy more clothes. I think those scale tips more into buying sustainability. At least that's my thoughts on it. So Sarah says, yeah, Lacey, there's some. So Lara Intimates is definitely, yeah, a good one to check out. On working in fashion, or do you already? I think in a more traditional sense as a designer or something similar. So I have worked in fashion ever since basically I graduated university. And I haven't been as much recently. I sometimes do a little bit of freelance work. And going forward, I really don't know. I can't imagine doing a lot in terms of fashion in a traditional sense. I maybe one day would be interested in having my own line, but definitely not anytime soon. That would be a pretty big project to take on. So yeah, so a little bit, and I might be taking on a few more freelance projects. It really depends, but not so much right now. Okay, so Gita says, what do you think of Uniqlo? I like it for basics, bras, tops, because of their size, color range. I feel they're more sustainable than many fast fashion brands. I don't really know anything about them. I haven't heard anything good about them. Just in general, I think fast fashion is not something that I personally want to support. I know there are some fast fashion brands that are doing really great things around sustainability and improving their things, which is awesome. But I just think as a business model, fast fashion just isn't sustainable. So I, unfortunately haven't looked a lot into them. Any brand recommendations for simple ankle height socks? So Booty, I think has, but I think they only have the small, like flat socks, like for wearing in flats. Or maybe they do have ankle socks. I'm not totally sure. They might, but I would check them. And maybe does Thought Clothing have socks? They have socks, sorry. I don't know. I would check Thought Clothing as well. I like their socks, but I'm not totally sure if they have ankle socks. It's hard to think of things off the top of my head. If you guys have any other recommendations of ankle socks, please leave them in the chat as well and help Jenna out. Okay, so Amber says, one ethical brand that she mentioned in previous videos, Bootywear. They also have some really nice underwear. But I don't believe that they have small bras. Well, I haven't tried their bras. If he says, what do you think of the new clothing line from Strome? I don't know much about it. I know, okay, I've just looked at it briefly. Wait, yes. Oh my gosh, I feel like I look at so many different things throughout the day. I can't separate them. I unfortunately can't really comment on it. I don't know if it's what I'm thinking of, and I don't think I've looked into it very extensively. I do think it has it has this pretty strong sustainability focus, though, I believe. But yeah. So, okay, next. Do you think it's easier to live sustainably in German or Canada? Oder Canada. Germany, definitely. There's a lot, just even like day-to-day life, being able to not have a car, being able to use public transit everywhere. The city like infrastructure, I feel like, is set up to be more sustainable in terms of, having a really good recycling system. So many stores offer like more sustainability focused products, I guess. You can go most places and find like organic things. There's, like I said, now there's a bit more of an increase in terms of being able to buy bulk and unpackaged things. Still not great, but depends where you live in Canada as well. So I think Vancouver is pretty good. Where I'm going to be moving to in Edmonton, I'm not totally sure what it's like now because I haven't lived there in quite a while. But I hear that some cities are a lot better than others. But in general, I think Germany is. So Danique says, I think American apparel has been bought by a Canadian company and is now globally manufactured. Not sure what the ethics are. Okay, so yeah, I really don't know much about them. Jenna says, have you ever written letters or something like to politicians, companies, etc., advocating ethical, fair, and environmental fashion? Yes. So I've written to companies quite a bit. I haven't written to politicians. I think I might have actually when I was in school, but I haven't recently because living in Germany, I just don't feel comfortable writing in German to German politicians. But I'm hoping to do a lot more of that moving back to Canada. So, oh no, we only have a few. Okay, I'm going to try to get through your guys' questions. I know we're coming up on an hour and I don't want to keep you guys too long. I was planning on just doing this for an hour. So I'm going to take a quick look through the questions. But sorry, I'm going to try, hopefully, to write more letters to government and politicians. I think that's really important. Jenny says, will you be uploading on your Slow Living channel? I upload very rarely on there. I'm hoping to more. I want to more. Hopefully, but I can't promise. Oh yeah, Uesirana is another great underwear company for small band sizes, and they have beautiful pieces. People Trees just started selling ankle socks, packed for ankle socks. Okay. Sandra says, I never really understood why it's okay to buy sweatshop brands when it's secondhand. Don't you still support the brand when you're wearing an item of theirs? I have a video all about this, which I'd recommend checking out. I think it's like, is it ethical to shop secondhand? I personally think it's fine as long as the brand doesn't have visible branding. So it's not like you're wearing a giant logo. Nobody can tell that it's from this fast fashion brand. So if you're just paying the thrift store, then your money's just going to the thrift store and not the brand. Anyways, check out the video. I talk more about that. Do you have tips? Do you have any mindful living daily routines, tips for staying productive? Oh man, I need tips for staying productive. I think taking breaks is really important. I always try to take like at least a break in the afternoon, go for a walk, do something that is completely not work related, just relax, have an afternoon. I believe it's Swedish. There's a thing called fika, which I love the concept of. It's just like slowing down, taking a break, relaxing, having a coffee. I think having moments like that in your day is really important. Shelby says, have you heard of the Very Good bra? Yes, I have heard about them recently. They seem really cool. I haven't looked into them a ton. I believe the bra is totally biodegradable though. I could be wrong, but I think it is. And I think that they also funded their Kickstarter. So I'm excited to see what happens with them. I don't know a ton about them, but it seems like something exciting. And finally, Gabby says, do you speak German? I speak a very small amount of German. I'm embarrassed to say that I don't really speak German. I can speak enough to function, to get by in day-to-day life. I have taken up to B1 level German. I don't know if that means anything to you, but I can function in day-to-day life, but I cannot have a in-depth conversation with somebody in German, and I get my grammar wrong. I mean, apparently I get it wrong in English as well, too. I'm constantly having grammar issues and stuff with German. So, yeah, a little bit. Ein bisschen. All right, so that looks like say goodbye in German. Auf Wiedersehen. Or tschüss, I guess, would be. All right, guys. So I think I got through all the questions. I hope I didn't miss anybody's questions, but that's really awesome. And we are coming up on an hour. So thank you guys so much. For those of you especially who stuck around this whole time, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for asking questions. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if this is something that you would be interested in seeing more of. I hope that I didn't ramble or talk too much. It was really fun. It's always a little weird to do something live, but I think it's probably something that I'll get more used to if I actually do it more. But yeah, all right. Thank you guys so much. And I have filmed a video for next week. So that'll be going up even though I'm in the middle of my move. But yeah, so there'll be a video next week and then we'll be back to regular scheduling. So thank you guys. Have a really beautiful rest of your day. For those of you in Europe, have a good night. And hopefully we'll chat again soon. Thanks, guys. Bye, Sarah. Bye, Jenna. Bye, Lisa. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Okay, bye. Oh no, I don't know how to end this. Okay, here we go. I'm such a pro. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years now, and I don't even know how to operate a live stream. Okay, I figured this out. All right, bye guys. Thanks.